Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of agenda. I'd like to add, in committees and board reports, I'd like to add D, update on the Bartlett Bridge replacement. Anybody have anything else?
I don't know if you want me to put this under public forum. I just wanted to make you aware of nomination papers. Or would you rather have it under committees and boards, or? Other? Whatever's good.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter. We can talk about it other.
Other?
Yeah, sure.
That's it. I make a motion to approve the warrant as amended.
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor? Okay, next item is a public forum. This is where anybody from the public have any comment on any non-agenda items. Now is your time. Any comments from the public? Okay. Approval of the minutes of February 23rd, 2015.
You can always let me know.
I didn't see anything, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by your second. Second. All those in favor? Okay, committee and board reports. Planning board meeting Thursday, 3/12, at the Mildred Day Library School here at 7 p.m. There will be a joint meeting with the budget board Wednesday, 3/19, at the Mildred Day Library School at the Selectmen and the budget board. On March.
That's gonna be in the gym too, Dan.
In the gym?
Yeah,
Okay.
we got acceptance today.
Oh, yeah.
We'll square up some tables in the corner. We had a choice of trying to go in the little conference room, but with two boards
Yeah, it's probably better.
and people, a few people here to present,
Yeah,
if that's all right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. On March 12th, there will be a manager's search committee meeting. This is with the selectmen and the search committee.
Are you gonna be able to get in all right? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do it over here, not the town hall, right? Or the town hall, where are we gonna do that?
I thought you were gonna be upstairs.
So we're gonna do it over
Over here.
here.
Oh.
Isn't that what you suggested, Tom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Let
easier
me
than,
make, I'll have to put in a request. Okay, so you want it in the conference room?
yeah.
I got a little lettuce check on it. Takes a little while to get
Yeah.
approval.
Okay, well, if you
I'll-
can't, then
First thing in
we'll
the
just,
morning, I can
I can
email
email
you.
everybody and say,
It's
it's a town hall.
Yep.
Okay, you can get into town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just easier here than going up and down those stairs in town.
Hey, you're right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And we're posting those, right?
We will post
Yeah,
it.
okay. The search committee meetings?
I haven't posted it.
Yeah.
No, but I can.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it'll be,
You just-
it's all an executive session.
Executive
Right.
session
Yeah.
to review resumes.
And then the last item on committee and board reports is the Bartlett Bridge. I attended the meeting on March 5th. Basically, it was just kind of a preliminary meeting. They were asking for input on, what types of closures, one lane, full closure, you know, for a 6-month period with detours around, and there was definitely some strong opposition from the Kennebunk folks for detours. I guess they're gonna be doing some work down over in Dock Square or in that general area also. So, you know, they're trying to figure out, you know, what they're gonna do, whether they're gonna move it over on one side, do 1 lane on one side and do 1 lane on the other side. So they're still looking at that stuff. This will be like about a 6-month project, 6 to 8 month project. Right now they budgeted $2.3 million for the engineering work. They plan on advertising in February of 2016 with, you know, construction in 2016. The only other thing that came out of it is, you know, Barry asked about maybe putting some conduits or something in the bridge in case we ever decide on doing some whiting. There was some discussion, they or Arundel, there was some discussion on maybe making sure that the bridge is wide enough in case, I think Kennebunk is working on that part of Route 1, and they're doing some sidewalks, and they're, you know, with a possibility of maybe putting some sidewalks on that bridge. And then there was also a little bit of a discussion on, in case we ever do sewer, making provisions to get the sewer across. So that's all kind of preliminary stuff. They took down, you know, a bunch of notes, and I'll be setting up another meeting relatively soon here, so. That's pretty much all that we got out of it. Roger was there, Terry was there, and Reynolds was there from the market. That's it for that. Managers report.
I got just a few things just to keep you up to date. I talked either at the budget meeting or the Selectmens Meeting last time about some questions regarding the sheriff's office billing for the sheriff's office, police protection for the year. I have talked to the sheriff about it, and we're reviewing that document. We have identified what the issue is. To make a long story short, in the past, the contracts with municipalities or private, you know, towns were always based on entry-level offices. Okay, so base pay because many times they didn't know who the officer was going to be. In some cases, as you know, they hire officers for the contract. In this case, that's what happened to you in the past. This new sheriff came in and corrected the contracts to indicate what the salary line was for the actual officer working under that contract. So it became like the officer's personal union contract salary. I understood that. Apparently other people called the sheriff, because I wasn't the first. And I said, we need to know that up front. We can't, you know, after the fact isn't gonna work for me. So he's gonna review that whole practice, and we're gonna get back together and discuss that. Again, my argument is, if there's gonna be a change in the billing practices, you need to let us know at budget time, and not, you know, and not after we've budgeted and sent the billing. I get the feeling it'll probably get resolved. Talked to Todd about it as well. But it isn't resolved exactly, but I did want you to know. The warrants tonight, on the invoices tonight, I agreed to pay half the bill, which is pretty typical anyway. I mean, we know we're gonna pay, you know, and the reason I did that is so that when we can resolve the rest of it, I don't have to make an adjustment or whatever. So the sheriff was fine with that, very cooperative. Said he'd try to work with us on it, and I'll keep you posted to what we do.
So we budgeted for a certain amount, and we're getting charged more than that?
$9,000 more than what we budgeted.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we budgeted for that, yeah, maybe you said it and I didn't pick up on it, but we budgeted that amount based on what they told us.
Correct.
Right?
Do we have a signed contract?
No.
Not with the figures in it.
No,
That needs to be improved, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm certainly for the fire, the police protection, we just wanna make sure that we know what we're paying for here, you know.
And I, from a management point of view, if I came into to a setting and saw that that was happening and, throughout the county in 2 or 3 different locations, I would certainly want to correct it, make a recommendation, and instead of the SO taking, somewhat of a loss. Now, I use that word carefully because the contract is very, very extensive. And there's a lot of line items to that contract. So there's, I gotta say this politely, there's not a lot of sympathy out of my soul for a year of making an adjustment if they have to, okay? So we'll keep working at it, and I think honestly that the contract in the future should have a dollar sign in it that, we can budget for and be held to. And one of the exercises that I want to go through with him for budget purposes is to do that.
So we'll see that, did we?
I have to say it was a good positive conversation, not, no discord whatsoever, but nevertheless, it's a little bit of a kick in the pants.
Well, it's a different administration too, because we started off the whole
Right.
process
Yeah.
with
Right.
a different sheriff.
On the ambulance purchase, we're moving forward with that. We're bringing different chassis in, different samples in, different demos in. We've looked at one last week. We had it for the day. We have another one coming in next week. So we're moving in that direction, just so that you know. Basically contacting, the ambulance providers in the northeast part of the country and saying, hey, if you got a demo, bring it up, I'd like to look at it.
So how's the support been from the fire station on that?
Good.
I mean, they're okay with not specializing?
I have not heard any negative responses. If a demo, we talked about this, the chief and I, and assistant chief, and I think a couple of the guys that were there that day the demo came in. And I'll just be silly for a minute, but if there's an ambulance demo that comes in that's, got a price tag on it, and and it doesn't have a light in the back, we can put a light in the back, you know what I mean, and get that charge added to the demo cost. I mean, you can still add a particular to it if you need to. It's not stock built, but it doesn't mean that you have to go without just because it's a demo. If you need a light, you get a light and stuff. So we have some flexibility, but I just wanted you to know that we've taken that pathway.
Good.
And, they bring them in, it's, kind of nice to see them hands-on, and so that's the way we're working on right now.
Yeah. I have a question on that.
Sure.
Who does the repairs on our ambulance that needs repairs? Does the town garage do repairs if the ambulance needs
Yes.
repairs? I'm thinking if you bring in a demo that you're seriously looking at a demo, you might want to ask the mechanic about that
We have,
brand or whatever, and because you might you might find one that's perfect, and the mechanic might realize that unit or that brand or whatever has more problems than it's worth.
exactly, particularly in the engine department, the chassis department, not so much in the box, because, although box up, a box is a specialty unit, but the chassis, is a definite raw chassis, either a Chevy or Ford or whatever, and you're right. And certain motors have had histories, as you know, I don't have to tell you that.
Roger should have some input.
Right,
Yeah.
right, Roger and I have been talking about it. But that's a good suggestion, and Velma, but, it's a team effort, hopefully. The firemen can certainly have the input on the specialization of things and what they want. Now, you also understand that we have lots of firemen, lots of people who have lots of opinions.
Yeah.
And if you have lots of people that, that are here on a short-term basis, the opinions are quite readily available.
Yeah.
as I have found out, you know. Pine tree waste, I talked a little bit about recycling, and I've continued to work with them. This is not a crisis that's gonna, you know, we have to deal with it head on right this very minute. I wasn't sure about that in the initial conversation. It was like, oh, you know, this is like right in front of me right now. And it isn't, but I've asked Pine Tree to draft up a potential extension contract that we can look at. And they're doing that, and we're working together on it. And basically, the ingredient of that contract, and this is just verbal, would be basically the same with just a temporary escalation clause on recycling. So if recycling does become a cost, you know, we would pay a little towards that, and if it drops off, it would de-escalate. So we wouldn't be locked in. It would be sort of a floating number with a ceiling, okay? Again, we're talking about $6,000 at this point of added costs with our tonnage the way it is. I think the point to remember is right now, recycling is costing people to process. And he's a great guy to work with and very laid back about it. He said, yeah, we'll talk about it, we'll look at it, and I'll, you know, hopefully have something that you can look at too, okay? That Dana's contribution land park, I don't know what you call it at this point, but we do have a committee put together. There's a meeting scheduled. We've invited, is it LaFont? Okay, yeah, to be on that committee. Jen's got a group together on this and on it, you know, at least for a while. And we're moving forward with that suggestion that you folks came up with.
Who's on the committee, Jeff?
Tad, Jim, me, Rick, Dana, obviously.
Roger, I think you asked Roger.
Roger, yeah, Roger, because of the impact there. Yeah, he was reluctant, but we talked to him. He said it wasn't an option, yeah. I think that's the bulk of it, Dan.
Okay.
Okay. We haven't met yet, but there's a meeting scheduled, and I'm not sure. It's either end of this week or next week. I don't know if you folks have the same sense of humor I do, but probably not, but I don't know if you noticed the budget committee minutes, because Simone said, you're gonna take minutes at this budget committee. I said, sure, I'll take minutes. So I gave her the minutes the next morning, it was probably a total of 50 words, you know, opened up the meeting and, you know, did this and reviewed the budgets. And then John Bell said his minutes out was 36 pages. And I said, wait a minute, I was at that same meeting. When I, you know,
Fell asleep for part of it.
apparently I missed.
John captured it well because Jason was looking for some stuff and I was gonna scan a whole bunch of stuff and send it to him.
took care of it.
But John took care of it.
I was gonna do the same thing,
So it
right?
felt good.
I said to that, I said to Simone, did you see John Bell? They're great, but it made my 50 words, you know, a little shaky.
He's very thorough.
Anyway, that's all I have.
I didn't see him take any notes, that was good.
I know, when I saw that, I'm like, geez, I didn't see him writing.
I thought I did an excellent job, you know?
With a phone or something?
Must have been.
I can do this now too if you want. I don't know why I put names on these folders. It was just probably because I had to keep track of how many I did, but they're all the same. I don't want you to think you're getting something special. And I'll put that with Jason. I'll pick up his stuff at the end. So,
Thank you.
What this is this is the latest and hot off the press information on the RSU 21 construction project. And I'm not going to read this, you can go through it yourself, but just quickly go through the paper so you know what's there. There's a note from Kevin. I've been talking to Dr. Crowley about the project, as you would expect. There's a Dave Friends letter that kind of introduces the project, there's frequently asked questions, nicely done, and there's a total project budget for this construction project. There's RSU building renovation facts, so more or less details of, and then there are 4 plans, building plans of the projects. One, the reason there are 4 is there's upper floor and lower floor of the high school, Kennebunk, and the day school. Then, there's a bunch of papers that, copies of correspondence going back and forth with legislators, and on that special bond work that they're looking at. Tom, you made reference to it, I think, not too long ago. They're looking to get legislative help on the way the bonds are handled. And it's interesting, and I just thought you might like to follow that discussion that they're having on that with the different people. And then the last document is the up-to-date engineering report on this building itself. And it indicates what the problems are with this particular building. And that report is new. It's, what's the date on it, Tom? I don't have mine.
January 13th.
Right.
This year.
Within a month, okay, I think, okay? So, I thought it might be of interest to you to have all the latest information. I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but I also made the same package for the budget committee. Just thinking that might be useful information for them down the road as well, and I guess knowledge is, part of understanding, and I will give them out, when we have our budget meeting. But Dr. Crowley indicated that he would come and talk about this, and go through this, and I said, let me think about it a little bit, and then I thought, well, if we did that, and had him come and go through it, which would be a service, we ought to do it at a budget meeting when we have both groups, and he can have, both the budget committee audience and you as well. I don't know what you need to know, what you want to know.
Well, I haven't been able to attend any of the RSU meetings in a while. Most of them have been the same nights as ours, but have they, do you know if they're talking about doing any type of public meetings to
Yeah.
go over? I mean, I know they
Like
did
this
this
memo they
before.
are.
Yeah,
Did they
Memo
hand-
says they are.
yeah, they will.
The email in front, first one.
I think what Kevin has offered, Dr. Crowley's offered, is to personalize it a little bit and, and come directly, to talk to you about it. That's a nice service if you need it, if you want. And like I said, maybe at a joint budget meeting or something, you could do that down the road.
Kevin's gonna be back here as principal in September.
Yeah.
She's already said that.
Yeah. Good guy to work with. I'm not showing my prejudice. He's a good communicator and good passing, we worked on this project, last month together, or last 3 weeks together. Anyway, you've got the latest and information on it.
Yeah, the engineers right now, the RSU is spending money that it knows it needs to spend for the engineers to come in here. Probably, maybe not so much now, although now with the frost going out of the ground and everything, they may still be doing it to check the ceiling and the beams in the gym and that wing, the library here. Over the course of the winter, I understand they did something in the gym to reinforce those beams.
Plates up in the.
Yeah, because they found that it was moving more, to keep it safe. So,
Comments from the board, do you think that, we want Kevin to sit down and go over, or, wait for the public hearings, or?
Oh, why don't we get a sense of the two boards when we're together on the
Okay.
meeting
Yeah.
and see what everybody thinks about that.
Yeah,
Works.
yeah, remind me, and I'll bring it up when we get together the 19th. Yeah. But in the meantime, I thought this might be,
Yeah.
good information to have kicking around. Part of the problem with a lot of these issues like that is if you get bad information, or you don't get, the accurate information, and that's where things start to fester, and if you can, have a little resource of your own and say, no, this is what that means. That's it, thank you.
Okay. New business. Ambulance billing rates.
Well, Chief was gonna be here tonight, and late this afternoon, his wife became ill, and matter of fact, she's gonna be hospitalized, so but I can do this, I think, because he and I went over it in pretty good detail. It's pretty simple, we're recommending that the rates remain the same, all right? And this, I don't have copies enough, I can pass it around, that's the current rates that we have. That's a far cry from what the company recommends, but remember, they're recommending it on a national basis, and the chief feels that our rates are reasonable. Our rate of recovery is good, very good, and Vernon Nance, we're doing worse sometimes, you raise the rates and they get it, and we're at the Medicare's gonna pay flat rate anyway, as you know. So, the chief's recommendation would have been to you tonight, that he recommends you to maintain the same rates.
Are these rates comparable with the surrounding towns?
Yes, he checked. That's one of the little projects that we did.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger organizations have a little bit more, we're on the low end, but we got a great rate. We're over, I think it's 93%, collection rate. So. Something you can look at.
So, are you looking for a motion tonight to accept the rates?
I think we can, I know if he was here, this is what he'd recommend, because we planned on it.
Okay.
I think he's comfortable, these rates are not only fair to them, but also covering, especially
Yes.
Ken, our expenses.
That's, I use the word carefully, but that's an income source for us,
Yeah,
as
right.
you know.
Right.
Some people call it a moneymaker, I try to avoid that word.
So, looking for a motion to accept the rates as recommended by the chief.
I make that a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor?
I'm gonna authorize the town manager to sign the document on behalf of
I make that part of my motion.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, liquor license renewal.
Is that done?
Yep, Dutch Elm.
And I have the code enforcement officer's approval and the sheriff's contract deputy's approval on that.
Anybody got any questions, comments on that? Not? Entertain a motion to accept.
Move we accept the request.
Second.
Motion to accept the license renewal for Dutch Elm Golf Course. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Liquor license renewal for Seafood Center.
This came in a little bit later, so I haven't seen Troy, and I forgot to catch Jim this afternoon, but I don't believe there's any issues as far as, it's for malt and wine. If you want me to, if you want to approve it, and then I'll hold it pending Jim's authorization, but I don't think there's been any issues.
I make a motion to approve it pending Jim's and Troy's authorization, or whatever we get from Troy.
I'll second it too.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Tax acquired property, quick claim, coffee map 35, lot 22C.
We do have some people here tonight, at least a gentleman. That's
One.
one. And Simone can explain this better than I, although she has done very well educating me and keeping me up to this, and it's a little quick change in what took place a few weeks ago, so.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the sale was moving forward, but not quickly enough to avoid the foreclosure process. They had, they wanted to hold the closing, but at the same time, we're a little intimidated about transferring a property that's tax acquired. So he's brought the check in tonight for the full amount, which is the $3,504.72 as of today, from the title company, which would take care of the taxes for all liens and current taxes all the way, which would carry it through June 30th of this year. So it's paying the April portion as well. But they just wanted to make sure that before they finalize the closing and everything, that you would accept the sale back to Jack Coffey for the property, so they can get the title work cleared off. I told them it was 99.9% sure. They usually don't like to hang on to property, but I couldn't guarantee.
Not in the business of real estate.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
that's right.
I make a motion that we sign the quick claim and get this taken care of.
Did we prepare this deed, or did the title
Oh,
company?
we did. Did you?
Yeah.
You know, most often I don't see the grantee referenced by last name and then first name.
Oh, okay.
But if the title company's happy with that, I don't care, but usually it's,
The other way.
and you don't wanna see it indexed with Coffee as your first name is,
I'll mention it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fine with it, but I'll mention that to him for sure.
that's more of an indexing problem at the registry.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion to accept the quick claim. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Good.
It's a good thing.
Thank you.
Everybody wins, right?
It should have never happened, Jack. It's just, it was under contract, should have closed in April, personally. This is just a quick slant. The bank, when they refinanced it a few years ago, they took the wrong title, the wrong description to the wrong each house that was next to each other. The Bank of America has taken since April to address the issue, and it was their mistake. And so Jack Coffey was left not being able to sell his house and pay his tax bill. So,
Someone says April with Bank of America, not bad.
how did you say about that?
I've had some occasions.
It's unbelievable. I don't
Oh,
know.
and it's,
But
big as they are, there's nobody to talk to.
you can try.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I contacted 4 different attorneys, and none of them would touch it because it was Bank of America.
Right.
Oh, anyway, thank you.
Okay, next item on the new business is review and sign accounts payable warrant.
So move.
It should be kicking around somewhere.
Yeah, the warrants are.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
Things are going very well. With sort of a team effort, as you know, but we're making good progress and backlogs and issues of, getting current.
Just in time.
So we have lots of help in pulling together as a team, which is working out quite well.
Appreciate your effort in getting that moving.
But the last packet, just so that you know, got by me because there were a new person preparing them. So I actually didn't see them until after you signed them, which we corrected. And I did look them over afterwards. So I wanted you to know that, but first.
Okay,
Working out well.
excellent.
Is this your new email address, Jack? Is that what you're telling us?
No, yeah, I just use the town manager one,
Okay.
because the one you're using now actually is a personal one.
Okay.
And you see how I signed that note, because
I just
Seems-
wrote it. Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
seems to be a problem with that process, so.
You wanna be politically correct, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Sim, you had something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that nomination papers will be available March 16th, which is before your next meeting, so I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that they will be available March 16th through April 24th. And this year, it would be you, Dan, and Phil that are coming up for re-election if you'd like to take out your nomination papers again. RSU director is Susan Sinnott-Curran, her term is up. Budget board, the 3-year term, there is no one that has filled that position. Paul Raymond has 2 years left of his term, so that's one position there, and there's 2 more positions for 1 year because we keep putting them up as they come up to fill. So if you know anybody that's interested in running for the budget board, it's a shoe-in, but nobody takes out papers, so.
You
So
know,
that's
buy
under
signs and
other.
put them on the roadside or anything like that? No?
And the only other thing, I didn't put it under other, but under other, I came across this, and I hope it's okay with you. I was thinking of maybe asking John Bell to do something up on the website, asking residents for pictures of Arundel, maybe something for our town report book, maybe with his winter pictures or things that are something in the town. So if it's okay with you, I'll ask him to put it on the website and see if anybody wants to, bring forward any pictures or anything like that. And here's your notice for the town report for Dan. So if anybody has any ideas for dedications, or anything like that, we'll be starting the process already, so.
I've already started jotting some stuff, I know what's coming, so.
Pictures, where was the highest snowbank? I mean, you show pictures of
Pick one, I
the
use-
roof of the school with the snow all the way into the roof. I mean, I actually saw a roadside sign tonight, and I don't think I've seen it all winter.
So, does anybody have anything for Wayne?
I've already bothered him.
How are you doing, Wayne? Nice to see you.
You too?
How's everything?
It's Augusta.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I saw you up there the other day, but you were a long ways off and you were in a group, so I didn't
Transportation.
interrupt you, but I was gonna throw something at you, but I
Well, you
figured
should
you're
have.
used to that, so, right.
I'm gonna
Speaking
get
of,
LePage to pay for all of that.
Yeah.
speaking of transportation,
Yes.
the state isn't planning on doing Bartlett Bridge and Lanigan Bridge the same time. Oh, I figured,
No, I think Bartlett's gonna be done this year.
16,
Oh, it is 16?
16, yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna advertise in February of 16
Okay.
and for 16 construction.
when are they doing Lanigan?
Maybe they are doing it at the same
Oh,
time.
Which one?
No,
the one in Kennebunkport, from Kennebunk to Kennebunkport.
Oh,
They
that-
dragged
that's-
it.
Yeah, that's
That's,
Lanigan. There's no date yet. It's
yeah, that's
16 or-
about the same time, because that's
16
why
or
they didn't
17.
wanna do the detour.
Yeah, I've already talked to
It's around the same time.
I've already talked to the commissioner about that bridge. I says, you got a million people that go across that bridge in summertime. You
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
They're already looking at different ways to, they've got a thing called a slip bridge where they build the other bridge right beside it. And they come in and yank the old one out and slide the new one in. And there's a couple different things. I was up to DOT headquarters talking to the bridge guy and about that, just because it affects everybody down here, no matter what, so. Because their original plan was put a temporary bridge to land it over behind Allison's. And I said, your temporary bridge is gonna cost more than your actual bridge you're replacing.
Yeah.
So, they're looking at several different things down there, but it's just so much traffic goes across in the summertime that, I just said, you're not gonna be able to close that the way you want it, so.
There'll be some irate people who do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, I
That'll
guess.
hurt some businesses here.
And I emailed DOT on, because Tom emailed me today about the light at Hill Road.
Yep.
And if Arundel was gonna have to pay for it or whatever. I always thought that any state road, they took care of it. But, have they said that, oh,
Yes.
they have said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they had the public hearing
I
right
haven't-
back here, that was one of the questions that I had, who
Yeah.
pays for the light? And they said, the town does. I said, you guys are requiring, you guys are fixing the road, why does the town have to? And I can't remember what the reasoning was at that point, and then Diane Robbins added on with a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't remember, but.
They installed the
we're clear about
poles.
it.
They installed the poles and own the poles, but we pay for the lights and maintain them.
I'll,
We do it down on Route 1 now,
oh, you do the ones?
on Liver
Yeah,
Road.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask, if you had to do
One-
that.
They do Campground Road, we do Limerick Road,
Yeah.
Yeah,
through one, both of them.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They should do all of them.
I'll check.
Okay.
I'm interested in knowing on what basis they
Yeah.
do that.
Good luck with that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, after your email, I kinda felt bad. I says, well, I've heard for the last 15 years that we wanted to fix Hill Road and put a light there, and now that I've talked him into putting a light there. So, but I'll follow up.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Do you want me to go over anything on the budget or what we have now, or not even attempt to do it?
How much it's gonna cost us? I shouldn't say that. Why, have you,
Nothing's passed, it's so far away from anything being done. What I told, I went to Lyman last Thursday and I was just left Dayton. If it passes the way it is right today,
Yeah.
the way it was submitted, you're gonna receive revenue sharing this year the same as you did last year, which I think Arundel got 158,000, I think was the number, from last year, and that's how it's set today. There's a lot of fight on revenue sharing, there's a lot of fight on the homestead, on different things like that. If, like I said, if it stays the way it is, like on homestead, for seniors it doubles, but it's fully funded. Right now, all of homestead, the town's gonna cover half. So the town doesn't have to cover half anymore. So I mean, as far as town budget goes, you don't have to allocate or change a mill rate or however the town does that portion. But that was a fight right up front, because that's really a direct cost on property tax. The argument is that on the income tax side, and this is how the governor's selling it, is like, for example, Arundel's losing 158,000 this year on revenue sharing. When the tax cuts go into effect, the townspeople of Arundel are gonna save, I think it's like 1.1 million in income tax, about a 25% cut in income tax, going from 7.95 down to 5.75. So that's the justification on the changes. But I said at one of the meetings, I says, the problem is on the homestead side is you're directly changing that's a direct increase in property tax. And you said you didn't want to do that, so,
So,
it's.
eliminate revenue
Oh, loss of
sharing.
revenue
Right,
would be
right.
too.
Same thing.
Right,
Double
Same
impact.
thing.
Right. So, I mean, so that's the justification, for it, is the cut in income tax. Personally, myself, I've always thought if I would just soon not send any money to the state and send it all to the town. Like in this justification, if everything is average, is you send $1,000 or $1,100 to the state, and we're not gonna get $150 back. So it's one of those things that, philosophy-wise, I've always said I'd rather pay no state income tax, and I could pay almost double property tax. So it's more direct impact, and citizens can come and talk to you and have a lot more influence on budgets and what they want to do and what it would cost. But there's just a real big fight on all sides. I mean, the governor's getting a big pushback from Republicans because of, the whole thing. I mean, the whole.
But you're not really Republican unless you,
Yeah, well, I guess I'm not, but I heard that.
Did you hear that this week?
After spending 2 hours explaining the whole thing to Lyman, I was glad to hear that I wasn't a true Republican.
you have to figure out what you are, Wayne. That's
Yeah.
all this is.
But it's one of those things that I understand the reasonings, the overall goal. You want to try to attract more business if they're going to have it, so income tax always comes in for business owners. So that's the thought process. If you can get the income tax down, then we're competitive with other states. By increasing the sales tax, you put more of a burden on tourists. So, and there's one thing that Velma's mentioned to me a whole bunch of times on meals and lodging, and he cut the meals tax. So that just made 0 sense to me. I mean, it's a tax that, I don't want to talk for everybody, but nobody cares about the meals tax. It's a discretionary tax, so, I mean, my first thought was you increase that one more and cut back, on other ones.
Who's not gonna come to the state of Maine because they paid
Well, that's
$1 for
right.
a meal?
Well, that's right, and I mean, that's the argument though that I get all the time from Maine tourism, is that we can't raise the meals and lodging because people won't come, and I said,
That's
do you
ridiculous.
not go throughout the country?
Mm.
I mean, I think Las Vegas is what, 18% or something like that, I think, and
No, I
Florida
went, I
is.
never checked.
I know, that's why I haven't gone,
Yeah,
right?
but nobody looks,
Nobody
that's right, so I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, I agree with the idea of shifting as much, we've done it on the turnpike. I mean, we changed, on the turnpike, when they changed the increase at New York last, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we've gone and changed the, easy pass deduction system that the credits that Mainers get. We've gone from 53% out-of-state paying turnpike to 68%. So it's gone because of that increase of $1 there, plus out-of-state people don't get the discount unless they buy a Maine Easy Pass separate. So, I mean, like for me, I put my pickup that I used to have a commercial account with on my personal plan because it ends up being free. Because I literally make the 50% discount every month. So by putting that on there, I automatically get the 50% discount. So it's literally, my pickup's free on the turnpike. So there's been a lot of benefits there, but that's the shifting, to more of the out-of-state, and you're right, everybody's still gonna come to Maine if it's 6%, 8%, or 10%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was, the first couple things was the meals when I saw the plan, and then was the homestead. And that changed, because I kind of figuring out the in-betweens. And revenue sharing is always an issue, but it's been a problem for a long time, that the towns have never known what they were gonna get. And I mean, if we get a big enough income tax cut, people can pay an extra 100 or 200 to the town. So it's just figuring out that if it's.
Maybe this isn't time to take, but from a philosophical standpoint, I mean, you reduce the income tax so that some people now are not going to pay for the services that they're going to want from their community. They don't have to anymore, because they're not property tax owners. So only the property tax owners are not going to pay for those services.
Yeah.
And my concern too is the area. I mean, you take a coastal town who has $1 million properties and businesses and everything, Booth Bay Harbor, Bar Harbor, places like that.
Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
Our neighbors, yet at the same time, you take people up in Aroostook County who do not have this income. Their school systems, everything is very dependent on, and the inequality, I think, is gonna hit home, just like, I think New Hampshire has that with a lot of their school districts, and that's my concern, is you're taking something that can be shared a little bit more.
Yeah, but on schools, it's like you have, I mean,
They're not funding them.
The state pays 49 or 52 or whatever the number is right now. But the thing is, that's not 55% if they fully funded it, of every town. You have towns like Kennebunkport, that doesn't get any. And then you have towns in Aroostook County that get 80 or 90%. So that's where that difference, you know,
And
as
they
far
need
as
it.
schools goes.
But
Oh,
they
no.
need it.
No, absolutely, no, but absolutely. But I mean, so it's not like they're funding it the same, like we get, I think, what, 40% or something like that.
And I still think sales tax is gonna hit the middle guy again, you know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But the middle income is gonna save the money on income tax. The lower income people are gonna get a sales tax credit. So for lower income people, they're gonna get, as part of this plan, if it goes, like I said, this is all prefaced on what it is today, which it's always gonna change maybe a lot. Because the problem is too, is once you start changing too many of the parts, the other parts don't work.
That's
You
right.
know, so that's the
There's a lot of moving
big,
parts here. That's
right,
the
oh
problem.
yeah,
There's a lot of moving parts.
tons of moving parts.
Yeah.
So if you have someone who is, they do own their own little piece of property, maybe a small house, but they're low income enough that they actually maybe don't pay main income tax.
Yeah.
They don't pay an income tax, but you'd increase their sales tax, are you still going to give them an income tax credit when they don't pay anything in the first place? Because their taxes are gonna go up.
If their income is that low,
Yeah.
because what's gonna happen too is their standard deduction goes up in Maine. It's gonna like double from where it is now.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have more people that won't have to pay any income tax. But if they're that low, they're gonna probably qualify for the property tax fairness credit, which is like the old circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Which that's gonna go up. For under 65, that goes up to 1,000, which is 600 now. And for over 65, that goes up to 1,500, and it's 900 now for low income on property, for property owners. And over 65 gets 20,000 of homestead, which is fully funded, so the town doesn't have to cover the 5,000 that they have to now on everybody.
Well, that's
So it's-
dead. They still need to.
There's
increase
way-
their
there's a-
lodging.
There's way too many moving parts
Yeah.
on how it's all gonna, but as, like I said, if it passes this year as far as revenue sharing, it's set so that you'll get what you got last year. So it may all blow up and then who knows what it's gonna end up being.
Wayne, what's he gonna do with second homes? People have camps and stuff like that. Is he planning on doing anything there?
Well, they wouldn't qualify for any of the,
You know, but
Right.
is he gonna put on a special tax because someone owns shorefront property or a second property?
I don't know if it wouldn't be an additional because they would already pay the regular mill rate of property tax
I
that
thought
they
I read
do.
something where he wanted to do something that people had second homes or something. No?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that
I
done.
know.
I mean, the
I
big,
don't know how they do that.
the big tax break things too, though, is like all military pensions are non-taxable. And there's a phase-in on regular pensions up to 35,000 for seniors. And that's over a 5-year and has something to do with some federal law that they can't do it right away.
How old's the governor? Is he taking care of himself?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if he needs an ambulance, our rates are the same.
Well, fees paying, we'll triple our rate.
Yeah.
No, those are rates.
Yeah.
Can I turn that camera off?
Need a motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn?
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and a second? Second is at 7:56 PM. All those in favor? Motion carries. 7.
Thank you.
You guys
Wayne.